Going live in three, two, one. Welcome to the Respectfully Great podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Reed, and today we have a wonderful episode scheduled. Today's episode it's all about streaming, but in what context? How about the stream that you can't delete? What? Have you ever heard of that before? First time for everything. But imagine this. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering there has been a camera following you every second of your life. Not just for recording what you do, but recording what you think, what you avoid, what you fear, what you believe, and what you repeatedly choose. Now, imagine that every decision you've ever made became an episode in a series called Your Life. The truth is, it's already, it already has. Your life has never been stopped broadcasting. It never stopped broadcasting. The question isn't whether you're alive. The question is, who are you becoming while you're alive? Man is powerful. Imagine that. Imagine your life is a 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year, 366 in a leap year. But imagine the cameras never cut off. You're always live. Every decision is live. Everything you avoid is live. Everything that comes into your ecosystem is live. What do you do then? Hmm. I'm excited. I'm excited. It gives us a real epiphany. It gives us a reality check. It gives us, well, what happens when the camera cuts off? What happens if it never cuts off? If it never cuts off, what do we do then? Since we're live right now, we're going to expound on it. We are live right now. Nothing never stops. I mean, only if you're, you know, mental, physical, spiritual, that can come to a halt. But the cameras are always rolling every day of your life, every day of the week. Everything that you do is being recorded. How do you feel knowing that everything that you do, everything you think, everything that you uh conceive, fear is being recorded? Hmm. Never really thought about it like that in that context. Well, in this day and age that we are streaming, we have live streams, but the live that never cuts off is your life. Your life never cuts off. It makes me think and takes me to a place of, well, what do I do when I have downtime? You're being recorded. What do I do when the people are watching? You're being recorded. What do I do when I have some internal thoughts going on inside of my mind, even though I'm present? It's being recorded. Okay. What do I do now? That is the whole premise of this conversation today. What do we do when the cameras never stop rolling? What do we do in these moments and when we are by ourselves and the cameras are still rolling? Even though we think that the lights and the bright lights aren't on us, but the cameras are rolling and our memory boards and our brains and our psyche and our thoughts and our perspectives and our ideas are constantly rolling. What do we do in those contexts, in those moments? How about you're streaming every day? Well, what are you streaming? What about if you're streaming your habits? What if your attitude is being streamed? What about your reaction to things are being streamed? What about your finances being streamed? Your discipline being streamed? Your relationships being streamed? Your character being streamed? Whether people see it or not, it's being streamed. Think about this. Your future isn't waiting for you. It's watching everything you upload today. Let me say that one more time. Your future isn't waiting for you. It's watching everything that you upload today. Everything that you do, your habits, your ideas, your persistence, your lack thereof, your emotions. What if all of those things are being streamed? How do we handle it? Do we know? Are there remedies? Are there ways to get out of the matrix per se? We don't know. Now we do know. We're going to break it down at this very moment. If we have per se an audience, right? Think about this. There are three different types of audiences. Um, these three is what I've thought about, and it made me really, really think about this conversation today. The first I want to expound about is called the Truman Show. Have anybody ever seen the show? Well, actually, the movie. It's called the Truman Show, but it's with Jim Carrey, right? And just a little bit of the backstory. Um, it takes place pretty much on set. What I mean on set. Imagine in Hollywood film, or there's a cast of individuals that are playing a role every single day, and you're being filmed. Well, this guy, Jim Carrey, the Truman Show, his whole life was on set. The cameras never turned off. During the course of the movie, he started to realize that there are things that are repetitively happening every day, and it was in unison. It was in sequence. Nothing was out of the ordinary because it was just like a film being replayed over and over and over again, and over again. And the star of the movie was Jim Carrey, right? The Truman Show. And from the moment in the time that he was born, his whole life was being filmed and it was on camera. But it wasn't only for well, actually, it was for the whole world to see, right? So it wasn't just a camcorder that his family was recording and saying, hey, this is your first or second, third, fourth birthday. Let's record this moment. Or hey, you have a baseball game today. Let's record this moment. No, his life was being recorded 24/7, 7 days a week for the whole world to be publicized and see. Imagine your life was like that. So I thought about that in context to this conversation today, the Truman Show. Another one that I thought of that actually I watched was an episode on Black Mirror, and that episode is called Angel. And the premise of that show that I watched is that there was an incident where there was a little girl end up being lost, right? She was like 4 or 5 years old, end up being lost. And in the midst of her being lost, her mother panicked. Everybody put on a unified search, end up finding the girl. The mother was in mass hysteria. She was, going bonkers and saying, you know what, this would never happen again. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to sign up for this 24-hour, 7 days a week surveillance. So what she was doing was she actually put in like this chip inside of her mind, right, in her brain, and it recorded everything that was going on through the eyes of her daughter. So every day from the time that moment that she had went to the doctors and it end up inserting a chip in her brain, it recorded everything to be at her mother's discretion on a little tablet, and the mother was able to see every moment, intimate moments when she was with her boyfriends, moments where she tried and experienced things, moments when she was going to the bathroom, anything that you can imagine, it was being surveillance, right? It was being surveillance, and the mother was watching it. That was very, very alarming. It was how well my take on it. I'll give you my take. It was informative. It shows the levels of protection you can go in order to have a loved one and just protect them. But then it also shows the invasion of privacy to another degree. And then at that point, you say, well, what is right and what is wrong? Do I surveil? Do I actually do I impede on the life of my loved ones and other people? Do I not only necessarily spy, but do I monitor everything that goes on in their lives and turn a blind cheek, even when I see things that are wrong, even though I have front row seats to the things that I need to be privy to or not to be privy to? So it's just one of those things that just draw your attention to, well, what's going on here? How, like, where do you draw the line at? But imagine just being 24-hour surveillance in those moments, right? Streaming in itself. This day and age, we have a bunch of streamers, right? So if we go to, well, let me show you a picture of the Truman Show. How about this right here? So this is the Truman Show. This is one clip from it. This is Jim Carrey. he's actually opened up his medicine cabinet in the bathroom. And when he opened up this cabinet, he kind of, at this moment, I think he start to notice that he's being watched a little bit. He sees like a camera, so he's kind of looking but not really sure. But at this moment is when you start to realize that, hey, maybe I'm being surveillanced, maybe I'm being watched. And he's kind of confused in the moment, but he says, let me close this up and go about my day. So this is one of the parts in the movie from the Truman Show, right? I'm gonna take this down, and I'm going to bring up this picture right here. This picture here shows Deen the Great and Adrien Broner. These two individuals are actually live streamers they're on many other platforms. But this day and age, a lot of people are familiar with them because this is something that we can actually identify in real time of what's going on in the world of streaming. So we have different variations of streams. This is 24-hour, 7 days a week stream that they can actually cut off at the discretion. But ultimately, everything that they do is on the fly in the print. Well, not even necessarily on the fly, because they have certain things that they put in place in order to go to different places, different events, but it's all being live streamed. So the real-time reactions of interactions with other people are live. I took these three different movies and movies, streams, etc. Three different forms of streaming actually thought of and brought down, because they all have very, very keen pivotal moments where we can really learn a lot. There's also some other things that we can draw back and say, wait, is this too invasive? Is this something where I will want my life to be 24 hours streamed? But to break the news to you, your life is a 24-hour stream. Your thoughts, your mind, your perspectives, your ideas don't turn off. And the 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 cause and effect of it shows how we're going to experience our lives, right? Shows how we're going to experience our lives. Every decision, every thought, every perspective, every idea is a conglomerate of memories, thoughts, perspectives, ideas that are continuously playing in our minds that actually affect how we live our lives. So when I took these pictures, when I thought of these individuals and these different forms of streaming, I wanted to bring it to our attention, bringing it back to us. Ideally, it's about how we are living our lives. In our lives, we're doing things sometimes through routine and habit. Wake up every day. You may have I know for me, I have combination codes, I call them. I get up in the morning and I have a certain routine that I do to make sure that my day kind of gets set on the right frequency so I can experience pretty much the best that I can by setting my mind, body, and spirit in the right place, right? So when I wake up in the morning, no matter how I slept, I wake up and I say, you know what? Let's go to the gym. Let's give praise. Let's go put something in our body for fuel. Let's do these couple of things to make sure that I'm tapped in and I'll be able to have a productive day. Now, how that day turns out on the back end, there's some ups, there's some downs, there's some in-betweens, but ultimately, that's how I set my station on the right tune in order to have a productive day. When it comes to how we set up our stream, since we are being recorded 24/7, 7 days a week, how do we prepare for the stream? One of the ways that I told you that I prepare for my stream every day, which is my life, which I don't turn off, is that I set my frequency right. I set the tune right. That's one portion. And then I go and I execute on some of my duties, right? I have obligations that I have to attend to and I had to adhere and adhere and have to adhere. There's other things that draw my attention. There's miscellaneous things that may happen and transpire on the course of the day that have to be super resilient to make sure that I still have a consistent flow of trying to get productivity. But we know that there are intangibles that happen. There are certain things that may occur that may be beyond our control. But the things that I can control, I try to set up and actually execute with the best of my ability. During the stream, right, of my life, and I'm using me as a caveat, but you, who we're talking about each individual themselves. There are a sequence of things that you're going to experience and do every day that's consistent or relatable or actually just your life. Your life is unique. Your life consists of different elements that may draw your attention to some things that may be positive. Certain things may be negative. Certain things may grab your attention. You may have a certain level of creativity. You may have a certain connection when it comes to things that you watch, the things that you actually draw and put your time into. That is your live stream. Most people equate their live streams as something when they turn on the camera and they let their social media follow or watch or see what's going on their social media feed. But when that one aspect of that social media feed turns off, what other parts of your life are being streamed? And how well do we operate in those other times and spaces and occupy those times and spaces with things that are aligning us with purpose? So this is the premise. This is where we are actually drawing attention to. How do we get the most out of our own live stream? 24/7, 7 days a week live stream. What do we do? Um, Let me check here really quick, right? What's up, loved ones? What's up, Lizzie, D, 410 Piffy. Man, a lot of people in the building, man. We getting tapped in. Yes, this is live. So the whole premise of us doing what we're doing today is to really get a real keen insight. Gio, my brother Gio in the building. What's up, Gio? Brother Gio in the building. We doing this thing on the fly, showing how things can be disrupted right there, that moment, that second. I did that purposely to show that at our live stream we can draw attention to different things at various times. That wasn't planned. That was, well, to a degree was planned, but it was thought of in a moment, and it just wasn't a reaction that I just did in real time to show that at any given moment we have the power and control to do things at our own discretion. Most of the time we give our power to other things, people, places, and things that may take us away from our strengths. I did that just as a test to see, okay, well, where is your attention at? How can I draw my attention to the things and make sure I stay on course with my premise and my goals? Right now, we're doing an actual live stream in real time, and I'm showing that the different things that may transpire is all through sequence of thoughts, perspectives, and ideas influenced by myself as well as the people that I come in contact with. Those individuals I should shout out are here in real time. Had not they draw their attention to come into this platform at this very moment, names wouldn't have been mentioned, ideas wouldn't have been spread, thoughts, memories, perspectives wouldn't be present. That's the power of each individual. Depending on how you show up, where you show up, your presence is going to be felt. Your energy is going to be absorbed. It's going to be zapped or actually transferred in a way to where it can be utilized. Let's go to the present you in this day and age, right? Your experience. Today, we have a plethora of emotions. Today's consequences are present because they're today. Today's opportunities are of today. Let's take the sequence of number 2. Not just for today. If we're thinking about the future, right? We have present things that are transpiring, happening in real time. But if we think about the future, how about we think about the future as things that we do in this moment that will have an effect later on down the line, such as your health. Depending on how you treat your body today is going to determine how well that oil machine is going to operate in the near future. Your physical. How about your finances? How you spend your money, save your money, invest your money today is going to have an effect, tremendous effect later on down the line. Beautiful conversation I had with my loved one today, my cousin Black. We always talking about family, health, finances, etc. And sharing these ideas back and forth, just having an understanding that, hey, the seeds that I plant today, I have big dreams, big ideas, big aspirations I'm going to fulfill in due time based on the thoughts and the ideas that I have today. So everything that we're doing today in the moment is thinking of the future. How do I save? How do I plan? How I invest? What do I do today in order to have a wealthier opportunity near down the line? Break those generational curses later on down the line based on the decisions I make today. Presently. Then we go to the future based on what we do in the moment. How about taking the people, places, and things that are around you, right? Everyone that's around you, children, friends, coworkers, family. Community. Your actions give other people permission, whether good or bad. Let me say that one more time. Your actions give other people permissions, whether they're good or bad, meaning that you are the host, right? You are the host. We can be affected by what we do to others and what others do to us. So, meaning that your energy carries over. Do you embody those type of positive, cup half full, optimistic thoughts? Do you manifest things to put you in a place in a climate that's for a better tomorrow? How do you think? Who you are around? How does those people, places, and things in those spaces affect you? More importantly, how do you affect them? Are you protecting your energy? Do you allow anybody to come and plant any seed around you? What vetting system do we have set up to make sure that anybody just can't come in your space? Anybody just can't come and plant seeds. Anybody just can't come and get around your children. Anybody just can't come and get around your family at their own discretion. Do each and everybody know, okay, what is the protocol to make sure that we all protected? Is there a system that we have in place to make sure that our energy is protected, our finances are protected, our thoughts are protected, our health is protected, our premise, our goals, our aspirations, are those things protected? The question is, what system do we have in place in order to protect it? Do we have these regularly conversations? Do we have these conversations on a regular? And when we do we follow suit? Right? Are we responsible enough to say, you know what, I'm willing to play that role because that's who I am and that's what my ecosystem calls for? See, most of the times we show up as a role, but we don't want to take on responsibility as that role. One more time. Sometimes we show up and say, I'm going to play this role. Mother, son, daughter, co-worker, friend. But do we take on the responsibilities that it come with? Are you bound by oath to say, hey, me being a loyal friend, what does friendship look like? Do you honor respect? Do you honor transparency? Do you honor sacredness? Are you truthful? Are you transparent? Those things come with having a strong relationship. You saying that, hey, I'm a great coworker, great businessman that relies on you being reliable. Are you a person that people can call on and say, hey, that person right there is suitable to do the job? Are you that personnel that's able to show up and do the job? I can't call that, but hey, I know if somebody's untrustworthy, I won't put all my trust inside of them. If I know this person right here isn't open and honest and transparent, I won't be open and honest and transparent with them either. Now, what I'm saying is this applies to the people that you come in contact with, your ecosystem, the places that you occupy, the places that you learning and growing and developing and planting seeds in. This is where that matters. See, everything is subjective, right, wrong, and different. It's all about perspective. It's all about, okay, this right here can change at any given time. But what are the constant things, just like this 24/7, 7 days a week live stream of your life? What things do we put in place in order to make sure that we have a more fulfilled, peaceful life, or the life ideally that we choose to have? These are the questions that arise. These are the questions that I think about. These are the conversations that I have with my airlights and my loved ones and my peoples. And I say, you know what type of leader do I want to be in my community? What type of leader do I want to be in my household? What type of leader do I want to be at work? What type of leader do I want to be within my business? What type of leader do I want to show up as when it comes to people saying, hey, that person right there is qualified because he can show up and do the job. And now, not only can he show up and do the job, he has integrity along the way. So you won't only get a job well done, but you also get somebody that cares because he has high levels of empathy. And in his premises showing acts of servitude during the process. He's here to aid and help. What I'm saying is that may be my 24/7, 7 days a week live stream. What is your live stream? Everybody has one. Everybody has one. The baby, the children, everybody has a 24/7, 7 days a week live stream. When I watch children, I love bringing up children because they have a spirit that never turns off because they are embodying who they are. They are actually being and designing, hey, this is what I like. I don't like carrots. Spit the carrots out. Although they may be good for you, the baby don't like the carrots. Maybe they like the applesauce over the carrots. You get honesty. You get a child that just understands and say, you know what, this is to my liking. I'm going to be fulfilled in the areas because this right here shows that I'm in alignment of the things that I want to bring towards me. Now, of course, this still has to come with, levels of training, understanding at during times, right? Once we start to get older, we start to understand, hey, I can skip out on the carrots and go for the candy when you become of age. But that all deals with levels of awareness. And what I'm simply saying is, how aware are you in your life? How many of us were deterred along our journeys because other people say, you know what, you should be living a life like that. You should be living in a house like that. You should be driving a car like that. You should go spend your money like this. You should have this type of woman, man, etc. in your relationship. You should have this type of environment where you want to go and share your ideas. You should choose this platform to share your sentiment behind certain things. You should have a voice, whether it's white, black, blue, or green, when it comes to politics. Everybody has their own premise on where they feel they need to take a seat at. But my question is, who is that influenced by? Who are these things influenced by? Because your life doesn't cut off. 24/7, 7 days a week, live stream. Now, what are you streaming? How are you streaming? Where are you choosing to put and film the next episode of your life? Where does the next episode of your life take place? What series, what season are you in of your life? We all have seasons, right? Sometimes we have seasons of just straight flourishing. We're flourishing at this very moment. Then we have some seasons where it seems like it's just raining. And I just can't, dodge the rain. But if we do and we study nature and we see what the ant does, the ant plans for the winter season while they in the summer. Let me say that one more time. If we do like nature does and we start to plan ahead, we'll start to plan like the ant does. We'll start to plan for the winter while we're in the summer season. Forward thinking. Presently operating, taking food, storing food, and building in the process until that day comes where they're not as mobile and be able to find food readily available right there out on, in the dirt. The soil's hardened up. Food is not out or, available to their discretion. So what they do is, we're going to plan for the winter seasons for survival. With our lives, are we doing these type of things? What films or what replays are we playing over? Let me show you a picture right here really quick, right? This right here is just a sequence. That's your boy right there. Respectfully Great. Shout out to Respectfully Great. Go shop at respectfullygreat.com. Shameless plug. Respectfullygreat.com. Shameless plug. I ain't got no shame in my game. If you guys don't know about it, you won't be able to purchase. If you don't know about it, you won't understand, hey, this guy has a business. He's pushing the business. He got a brand, building a brand up, right? That's my life on 24 hours, 7 days a week, live stream. But right here, imagine all of your thoughts, perspectives, ideas, memories, times, places, recalls, all being played simultaneously as we speak. Let me just inform you on how powerful this picture is right here. I'm gonna show you how powerful it is because every moment, every day of our lives, our decisions are predicated based on what we already experienced, the thoughts that we already taken on, the ideals that we already have, the theology that we carry behind things, all affect every decision that we make in our lives. How we experience life, how we experience our life. What stimuli pushes us to the point to say, you know what, I'm attracted towards that thing. It may be the attractive female, right? The attributes or the aesthetics or things about a particular woman. It may be some other aesthetics from a man that woman may say, hey, I'm attracted to that type of guy. Or someone else may say, hey, you know what? I'm driven by the passion of another personnel or the creativity of someone else, or maybe the mind or the brain or the thoughts from another entity, personnel, animal, whatever it may be. People may be drawn to different things. There are certain things that are playing in our minds and our heads every single day while we make decisions. Sometimes we are conscious of it. Sometimes it's a subconscious thought. So that means that if we choose, depending on our own discretion, if we choose to say, you know what, this thing right here is bad for me. I'm just living in a world of turmoil. Man, I don't like other people. People are always out to get me. What life do you think you're living if your thoughts are pretty much more negative? The world is out to get me. I, the people are coming at me. Why me? Victimhood mindset. So in your story, do you think that you're the victor or your victim? What let me, let me say that one more time. In your story, are you the victor being victorious, or are you the victim? Based on how you speak, based on how you see the world, based on how you interact with the world, all of that is playing a part in your life. So being conscientious and understanding that, hey, my life is flashing before my eyes. What memories am I choosing to attract towards? And how am I writing that story today to make sure that it's suitable for me in the near future? Most of us hold on to some of this trauma, hold on some of the dismay. Some of us hold on to the ill intents. Some people hold on to these places in my life where I was just down bad and I felt like everybody doubted me. So now I'm in position. Now it's F the world. So now you got you got a blackened heart. I heard something before, right? Where did I hear this from? Because right there, tip of my frontal lobe, right? Who said this? Who said this? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. But let me tell you the premise of the story. The personnel said that there was a point in time in their life, right, where they were so scorned, right? Oh, here it is. There was a guy. So I love to give the context to where I heard of that. There's a guy on the Horrible podcast. So it's dealing with this podcast is dealing with a lot of like horror things, right? So you would think, okay, if you're not into horror, you really want to be drawn to it. So the premise is around horror. But there was a hoodoo priest on him, and he started to talk about a point in time when he started to deal with, creating creating the life that he chose to live in, and being able to come up with formulas. And I don't want to just say what is a good term to use, because I can't, other than saying magic, right? But when he's making these concoctions in order to have these healing modalities for himself, he said there was a point in time where he wasn't practicing the right things from his own perspective. He was dealing with some things in his life that drawn him to darkness. So he said there was a point in time in his life where he could have lost himself in the darkness. Let me say that one more time. He said that there was a point in time in his life where he almost lost himself in darkness, meaning that he was going so far down a rabbit hole because he was scorned, that he said that there was a point in time where there would have been no point of return because he was so embedded in that physical, mental, spiritual state. Mm, mm. It makes me think when realization hits, right? When we have that revelation, when things get revealed to us, and we say, "Man, I have an epiphany. Something just transpired. Something just happened in my life. I have something that I can actually draw some life lessons from." Watching and hearing that story, I said, "Well, was there times and points in my life where I felt I was, hurt, scorned, bitter, and I wanted to get even?" And I thought about all the things from the hurt that I felt, all the things, all the people, all the places, the things that laughed and pointed fingers and took advantage, that I thought that he took advantage of me in those moments. I felt like when I get in position, maybe I want to act the same way that they treated me. Maybe I want to wear this black in the heart and express how this affected me, and I want other people to feel what I felt. So there's a point in time where that thought crossed my mind, fully transparent. Didn't act on it. What I understood in those moments what I understood at those moments is that those are emotions, temporary. Those are moments where they're bypassed. If I choose to write a different narrative and story, you know what I chose to do? I said those moments that I was hurt, scorned, bitter, angry, I said I'm gonna use this for my success. This is actually the fuel. I'm going to take my testimony and being able to share my sentiment behind the things that drew me to the edge. And I'm gonna show you, not only did I go to the edge, I actually reeled myself back in and I climbed to the top of the ladder. That's what I've done. I was this close to the edge where I wanted to act out the pain, hurt, and all those things I felt in the moment, because I felt like I was taken advantage of. And I said, the moment I get in position and opportunity presents itself, I'm going to act the same way people acted towards me. But then I thought to oneself, no, 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 no. That's not the way we respond. See the words I just chosen? Not react. That's not the way that I want to respond. Be in response with ability. To respond with ability. I'm fully capable. So I told myself, you know what? When I get in position, I'm not going to do what everybody else want to do. My 24/7, 7 days a week live stream, I'm going to act out of my best, being the best version of myself. I'm gonna still act out of kindness, even when people want to be, you know, kind of bitter towards me or angry towards me. That's just only perception. I'm perceiving, or I'm saying this energy coming towards me may feel a little bit negative. But even if I feel like disdain and I dislike, I'm going to act from a level of obedience and still do the consistent things that I want to align with my premise and purpose. Being good-hearted, being open and honest, being transparent, being a leader, also willing to take the roles of a student, but from the qualified people. I'm willing to take and wear those hats that have levels of integrity. Even when nobody else is looking, I'm going to pick the paper up off the floor. I'm going to look the person, him or her, in their eyes and look at them telling the truth. Or I'm going to tell the whole story, not half of the story that benefits me. I'm going to do the things, the uncanny things that other people may say they're unconventional. They may say, you know what, that's not my cup of tea. Hey, you know, it's on a need to know basis, or you got to pay to play, or the game is supposed to be sold, not told. All of those misnomers and all of those quotes that, you know, govern a mind, body, and spirit, because everybody lives in secrecy. I say, you know what? I'm not going to live in secrecy. I'm going to live out of my truth. There are going to be some things and discussions I may have with certain people when I feel that we're qualified to be on the same plane. Then we can have the real open and honest conversation when I know that their spirit comes with truthfulness, honesty, transparency, integrity. When I know that that spirit that sits within inside that body, because we know what moves people. See, outside is the outer shell. So what we see, we perceive as truth, but nobody knows what their heart speak like. So what I'm saying is I simply watch and make sure that I'm protected from letting the energy come out, letting the energy come towards me when they speak with the spirit. I don't only pay attention to the physical, because in this world we got to have vetting systems in order to protect oneself and be able to protect your tribe, your community, your people. So how do we protect our children? How do we protect our families if, you know what, if we don't sit down and have these discussions? If we don't sit down and say, you know what, hey, well, how are you feeling today? Well, what transpired today? Well, what did you experience at school? What did you experience at work? Who you came in contact with? Well, what did they what conversations did y'all guys have? What was the highlight of your day? What was the low of the day? Well, what did you feel in those moments? If we don't have these type of conversations, we won't never know where a mindset is at when we're dealing with certain personnel, because there may be small triggering things that people along their way getting seeds planted in their subconscious, and they don't know how to respond or react towards it. Well, actually, they're being reactionary towards it, and they don't have the response with the ability. They don't respond with the ability. So they're not able to see things from afar because their awareness isn't present, because they caught in a emotion. So now we got to work and develop on emotional intelligence, knowing what's real and what's perception. You know, our perceptions can become our reality, and we can be drowned in that and saying, you know what, I just grew up in this time, place, era. So I know that these people that came around me, everybody was just, you know, coming at me. So now I got to come at everybody else. So every time somebody come towards me, my wall is up. Every time somebody come towards me, my wall is up. And now I got to say to oneself, hey, do I keep the wall up for invasion or protection? Or do I keep or bring the wall down to make sure that we can build alliances and have you know, build, right? And just have community, have working hands together and do things as a collective? Or do I keep everything at a distance and don't let nothing impede because I'm afraid of what people, places, and things may say or do because I was harmed before? But these are the perceptions where I take these movies, just like the Black Mirror. Okay, the mother felt the need to really, really protect her daughter. So in the need to protect the daughter, she says, you know what? I'm going to have a sneak peek of what's going on in my daughter's life because I think that we're supposed to know. But at what time is it invasive? At what point in time where we say, you know what, I love and I respect the people that I'm around, and I feel that we have an open communication to where if things get a little tricky, we know that, hey, this right here doesn't feel right. And now the responsible thing for that personnel can say, hey, let me come in and consult with my trusted advisors. Let me consult with my peer groups. Let me consult with loved ones, people that love me enough to tell me the truth and not be misled. You know, something that's very, very sad that we've seen today. There's a young gentleman, like young African American kid, um, went to an island with. Let me tap in over here really quick. I'm still continue this. Um, Leah's mom, what's up, loved one? Um, I let me. There was a young gentleman that went to an island with some friends on a boat. Right now, this island that they went to, they had to travel there by boat, so that's the only way you're able to get there. And there was a party, something going on. And during the process of this party, there was an argument that transpired. And from that point, that young kid, around three other Caucasian men, ended up being unalived. And then the question is, well, what transpired to his unaliving? Out of all of the people that he showed on camera, there were, quite a bit of people. You could say 100 people, even though he went there with three other gentlemen. So it was four in total in their group. But who else was around that witnessed or seen, something that led to his unaliving? But now here it is. Nobody knew what happened. This disappearance happened. The kids come back with the young gentleman's phone and gave it to his parents, but they say we don't know nothing about your child. But meanwhile, they left pictures, etc., with their child, but they don't know what's going on with this child, with their child. And now the parents had to figure out what was going on with my child. Only until days later, a fisherman sees a young man's body floating in the water, and it happened to be that same child of those parents and their friends, quote unquote, not friends, because friends don't do those type of things, but being around some individuals that led to his unaliving. So now what I'm saying is that when do we understand that, hey, when things start to get really, really confusing and things start to be puzzling, and I'm here with a stupor, I'm here like just dumbfounded. What I do in these moments? Who can I call? Who can I consult? At what times of the day am I able to have that open door policy to be able to speak to the people, or do the people around me have enough patience to hear what I got to say? Is everybody that I'm around too busy to hear my thoughts, my mind, my perspective? Because at those moments, in those times when you feel like you ain't being heard, then you forced to take another route, and then you got to rely on oneself. But maybe sometimes we need some levels of the guidance and hear and seek out further guidance from more qualified people with more experience and more life experience. Maybe we don't have all of the answers, but is that open door policy available? But what if nobody's being heard and nobody have that window of opportunity just to be able to express oneself? Then now we just become mute mode, and the thoughts, perspectives, and ideas that run into our minds may lead us down roads that we don't want to be in. Maybe we be able to vet and see, hey, what type of friend, what are your friends into? What type of friends do you have? Are those friends lying to their parents 24/7? Are those friends of yours, are they doing the right thing? Are they active? Are they doing positive things? Do they have humanitarian ideas? Do they want to do acts of servitude? How do they treat their siblings? How do they treat their friends? What do you guys how do you guys what does a friend do? Right? Do you guys protect one another when it comes to your word? Is your word your bond? Do you show up in a manner, even at times what is an inconvenience for you? Do you still show up in a matter of saying, you know what, out of our friendship, out of our loyalty, out of our trust, when you're going through something, is my door open for you to make sure that you could come? Because we might be able to save each other lives. I might be able to make a decision that may lead me down the road that may spend the rest of my life in prison or lead towards an unaliving. We see the one with Carmelo Anthony in another situation where another route transpired. He's doing 35 years in prison without the possibility of parole. But this other child doesn't have a weapon or anything to defend himself, and he's unalive now for whatever transpired. Don't know what, and I'm not just putting things out there. I'm just saying there are two very similar cases to where there were two individuals that were approached, and in the space of other people, more than one personnel. One person's here to live to tell a day, but had to protect himself with brute force, and the other personnel might then have that same type of protection, and now they're unalived. So what's right? What's wrong? But what if we can avoid those things and say, you know what type of people are you around? What system do we have in place? Same thing what I was talking about with the Black Mirror. At what point do we say, you know what, hey, let my child, loved ones, people around me grow and let them see things for themselves? And what times do we say, you know what, this is going too far. I need to impede because the next step from here may be unalived or being in prison for the rest of your life, or making a decision in life that will alter the rest of your life. So do we have enough awareness to recognize these things in our communities, in our household? Very, very important. Let's go to, let's bring it. Let's come over here. So to the Black Mirror. Technology, yeah, we talked about Black Mirror a little bit. Let's bring it here. Let's bring it there. So in the Truman Show, right? Bringing it back. Remember, we are talking about live streaming. We are talking about streaming your life. You're 24/7, 7 days a week, your live stream, your life. We gave 3 different streaming shows or movies or realities that these different personnels are living in. One is the Truman Show, right? And that show, Truman believed that his reality was reality until he became aware, right? So we talked about awareness until he became aware. Nothing changed physically, everything changed mentally. Let me say that one more time. His world that he was living in, he thought his reality was reality, and the whole time it wasn't his reality. His physical presence didn't change. One thing changed: his mentality. With Nelson Mandela, he said that you can lock up the body, but you can't lock up the mind. So in that time, when he went to prison, he did all those years, right? He said, physically, they locked me up. Physically, I was in chains, but my mind was free because I had free thought, I had free range to think. Although my conditions and everything around me seemed like it was turmoil, but I was able to put myself in a place where I had free thought, free range of being able to think. So these are the things where physically we may be in a place to say, I'm going through some things right now physically, but are you bound by those things, or mentally you're bound by that mentally? Because you know that you can uprise from that, because it's all about a perspective. So how do you think? How are your thoughts shaping your reality? They are. How are they shaping it? By the things we put inside of it, the things that we around, the way we choose to associate these times, places, and things creates the world that we experience and the world that we living in. So I heard something from Coach Lucky. I love bringing up Coach Lucky because he say some profound things. He said that in his life, he can't even recall the last time he got sick, last time he didn't show up, last time he does everything from a perspective of doing. And at all times, he thinks I am great. At all times, I am healthy. At all times, I am blessed. At all times, I am financially astute. At all times, I don't lack nothing. I have everything that I need. At all times, I am a prominent figure. So that means there's no matter what the conditions are, he chooses not to associate with sickness at all, whether it's physically or even if it's mentally. That's the power and the strength that we possess every day. But we choose to pick up things along the way and be with certain levels of distractions that's taking us away from our strengths. One thing I learned even for oneself is constantly refine that, because I find myself, human being, at times having those thoughts cross my mind. But then when that thought crossed my mind, I understand that that negative thought is just bypassing. It's just letting me know that, okay, I'm real and things are here. If I don't continuously put those thoughts of positivity back in my mind, that I can succumb to the negativity. So my premise is saying that no matter what the conditions are, I do things from an act of obedience instead of sacrifice. Meaning I'm obedient in the things that I do, consistent, healthy, wealthy, positive, uh, uh, exuding nothing but positive, radiating energy continuously, because that's going to shape my reality. Never sick. Even if I have a little, I'm not sick. Physically trying to tell me that my body's undergoing something, but mentally going to uprise. Not saying that as a disclaimer that we don't do the things to remedy and find ways to heal. Every day I have a moral obligation to heal. I'm drinking some tea, as you can see. Every day I find some way in order to increase this well-oiled machine. So I take my health serious. Work out mentally, physically, spiritually. I do all of these things as my combination codes, as my 24-hour stream. I put these things in times and place because I say what I do today is going to affect my tomorrow. What I do today is going to affect my tomorrow. And I want us just to be aware of how mentally we can shape our reality. In the Truman Show, Jim Carrey just became aware, and everything changed for his life. He started to see things that was just so synchronized, as if he was like in Pleasantville. Nothing was imperfect. Nothing was out of whack. Everything was perfect until he cracked the code, and there was a glitch in the system. He became aware. So everything that looked normal to him was abnormal. The things that were looking normal to him was abnormal. We all have these breaks in our lives and times and places where things just go as routine. Then you have an epiphany, like, wait, that's different. That's different. Let me pay a little bit more close attention, and things start to get exposed to you so many ways. My life, I watch this happen in my life every day. There are things that become readily available, and those downloads come to you because your awareness picks up, and you become more aware when you put more into oneself, mentally, physically, spiritually, challenging oneself, letting go of the distractions, being tunnel vision, doing your due diligence. Have signal to noise ratio, as Steve Jobs said, 80% signal. The noise, the distractions I do without. And this right here will give you the leverage in your life for nobody else to live and experience. Because there are going to be things that you see that nobody else sees. There's going to be things that you witness that nobody else be able to witness. It's because in your life, like we said right here, this is what's being played in your life. All of the times, all of those memories, all of those thoughts, all of those perspectives. Now, when we see a glitch in the matrix, we like, wait, hold up. That time period when I fell off the slide, man, I was really being brave, man, because I jumped from the top all the way down to the bottom, man. So it wasn't, nobody pushed me, and I wasn't being timid, and the slide wasn't out to get me. No, what I was doing, I was showing some bravery. I was showing some levels of, strength and challenging myself, being a young, agile young boy. And I was experiencing life to say, you know what? I'm going out there on the edge, and I'm actually showing bravery. So now when I see that moment in my life, when I said I got the scar on my arms and stuff, man, you was out there being brave. You was wearing a badge of honor because you went out there and you did things that were challenging. So now I start to change the pictures of how I see and associate with the things going on in my life. I start to rewrite that past as a different thing that can serve me instead of me being a victim in it. All these times, these places, I'm no longer going to be the victim in my story. I'm going to be the victor. And I'll show you how I uprise. And I'm not only going to show you how I uprise, I'm going to help other. You know what? Let me finish that thought. not only am I going to uprise, I'm going to help other people have that same realization. I was watching this gentleman right here, right? We talked about AB and Deen The Great. So, super powerful. The brother on the left, Deen The Great, something was so powerful I witnessed on his live stream the other day. And he said, first of all, he helped Adrien Broner come back, become a millionaire again, right? That's one thing. But there was a random telephone call that he received while he was on live stream, and one of the brothers said, hey, Dean, man, I just want to tell you, man, that I love you, brother, and I just want to let you know, man, that goal that I had 5 years ago, becoming a millionaire, it's a reality now. You helped me get to being a millionaire. And I thought about that moment. It was a moment of appreciation and honor. And it shows what you can do if your goal is set to a particular thing, and how consistent and persistent you are. Things can unfold in unimaginable ways. And what I learned in that moment, that this gentleman to the left, Deen The Great, is that not only did he make himself a millionaire, he helped and aid and assist other people to accomplish their goals in the same manner and fashion. So once we accomplish and being able to do a thing, the next level of servitude is being able to pass that wisdom and knowledge along to help other people reach their goals. So when I seen that, I'm like, the power of being able to share, being able to have sentiment, and being truthful in your approach of the things that you do, regardless of what the world says, regardless of what other people say, regardless of what the what the climate says. Right now people say, yeah, you're not supposed to go outside because it's X, Y, and Z time of the day. But you got children outside, and people who say, I gotta go, and they out there shooting them jump shots. Regardless of the time of the day, they out there shooting them jump shots. There's other people scholastically in school, and they studying every day. They putting that work in, they studying themselves, they studying their work, and they putting forth the effort. And then when results come, they're like, how did that person acquire that? See, their materialistic things, the things outside of oneself, is only a reflection of what's going on from within. The world that we living in is only a reflection of the world that we possess from within. So how we live, where we live, the thoughts that we have, the things that we do, the habits that we have, the habits that we tend to exercise every day. All of those things are from the ideas that we carry from within. So when you start to think differently, you start to behave differently. Be more, do more, have more. Becoming. Every day, if you are becoming and you are convinced and you're consistent enough in your approach and you do the thing, regardless of what other people say and do, you in purpose. Because there are going to be things that cross your path and opportunities that will cross your path to where you have that epiphany. You say, wait, something is here. My awareness just picked up. I now see opportunity in this thing right here. Now I can navigate. Now I can open up my doors, and more doors going to be open, but I'm literally opening them myself because I can witness what's going on here now. You can't give the baby the car keys and tell him, go drive to the grocery store and get some eggs. Why you can't do that for a 2-year-old? First of all, they can't see over the steering wheel. They don't possess the wherewithal to understand and know how to put the car in ignition, how to follow the road signs, how to get to and from. They just don't know. But there will be a day where I've seen my nieces, nephews, loved ones, children, when they grow up and now, hey, let me hold your car keys, man. Let me go to the store. They responsible. Their awareness is up. They know how to follow the street signs. They know how to navigate. They know how to go to and from. They know how to be cautionary. They know when they're on the road, it's not only protecting oneself, but they got to be able to protect other people and think for the other people as well. They can't act out what they're going to do, but you can be forward thinking in your approach to say, you know what, I shouldn't run this light because this person over here is speeding. So I think it's best for me to slow down and slow down for them as well. Because if I run the light and challenge that other personnel, we may end up crashing. So now no longer are we running into things and just keep bumping our heads and bumping our heads and bumping our heads. We actually moving with fluidity. Shout out to Fat Joe for that one. Moving with fluidity. You feel me? So now in life, we just have a flow. Moving like water. Be formless. Be shapeless like water. Really saying just being resilient. Going with the flow. We in a flow state. That's how things start to transpire within one's life. Powerful tools and tactics. Powerful tools and tactics. What's up, loved one? Nolan, RIP. That's what Lizzie said. Lizzie said, Nolan. Lizzie said, feels like we living like that show now. Absolutely. Feels like we live in that show right now. I agree. These things happen, man. Feels like we living in these shows this day and age. Many people live inside of routines, limiting beliefs, trauma, family programming, fear, without questioning any of it. Most people just go through the redundant thing and not questioning anything. What if your biggest prison isn't your circumstances? It's your perspective. What if your biggest prison, your mental prison, those walls, those closed, encapsulated places, the places that you dwell in the most, your mind? What if the biggest prison isn't the circumstances? It's your perspective. Because things happen. How you choose to associate what happened or transpired with that thing determines the outcome of it. What if we can transition that though? What if we can transition that? What if we could just take that and, do something else with that perspective and turn that leaf over for the better? What would happen to your life if you were able to transition and say, you know what, I could pivot. I could take this to another direction. The things that you say that you want and you can't overcome, you start to. That's the power that you have. That's the power that you possess. But most of us aren't taught that we have the power. We taught to look outside of oneself. So we wait on things outside of ourselves to give us validation to go execute on things that we can exercise. We wait on a validation from outside things to go and execute on things that we choose or want to go and exercise. So we stay in stagnation. We stay in complacency. We stay in a space where, hey, you know what? I'm just going to let time pass because, in due time, things will happen. But we don't understand that nothing happens when we don't do anything. Nothing happens if we choose to do nothing. So that means that we have to act upon things, be actionary people, do the work. You don't get the results if you don't do the work. Most people say, hey, I am in such and such position only in time. Time will, tell. Only thing is time is going to reveal your truth. Are you really putting the work in? Time will tell. Are you being diligent in your practices? Time will tell. Are you truthful, honest, transparent about where you are and the things that you want to bring and manifest in your life? Time will tell. Because it reveals the true you. Everything will reveal the true you. In due time. In due time. Because when opportunity and when those opportunities show up, would you be ready? Every day right now is the moment for the big stage because the lights never cut off. This is a 24/7, 7 days a week live stream of your life. The cameras never cut off. Even if you're not in the spotlight and for whatever reason you're going over here and you think nobody else is watching, you know who else is watching? Your mind, your thoughts, your perspectives, your subconscious, because they never cut off. They are continuously working on you in your 24/7, 7 days a week live stream. So we have to be really, really mindful and open and honest and aware that these things are transpiring. Every conversation matters. Or it doesn't matter. You may be having frivolous conversations that doesn't add to who you are, and where you're trying to go. Those things may not have no merit. So we spending time talking about things that's not going to help us grow, then it's just simply jogging. It's just a waste of energy if we choose it to be. If you guys with me, man, don't forget to like, share, thumb up the video, man. If you're making it this far, you with us, man. Don't forget to like, share, thumb up the video, man. We really, really appreciate all your contributions. I had to say that, man. This is little shameless plugs that we put in because we really want to promote other things that's going on. This is the platforms that we're utilizing, but ultimately we're trying to build up ecosystem and build up a way of thinking and being able to help and aid each other get to those next plateaus in our lives, and we can overcome those things, right? There are mental barriers that we are going to break down, right? We're going to overcome. There are things like such that we can challenge ourselves and in due time be able to bring ourselves up to speed to say, you know what, man, I had these thoughts and these ideas 2-3 years ago, and look now, I'm experiencing it. I became the best version of oneself. I now can do the things that I once dreamed of because every day I was developing and becoming the person during the process. So that's why we highlight these things on where we need to go and how we can get there, and what vehicles we choose to get us there, right? Because our time, our energy, the biggest form of currency is your attention. And most people think it's the dollar amount. The dollar be able to create more opportunities, but ultimately the biggest form of currency is your attention. Wherever your attention at, whoever you give your attention to has your mind. Whoever has your attention has your mind. And whoever we choose to give our attention to is controlling your thoughts, your perspectives, and your ideas. So when it comes to things that's outside of me that I don't want to draw attention to, personally, I ignore it because all those other things are distractions for me. Other people can juggle somebody else's life in their lives. Hey, you're a bad member gemma if you're able to control and operate in 10 other people's lives, and you be able to control and be able to have input and impede in their lives. You're a powerful person. All I'm saying is that to juggle everybody else's life without the levels of responsibility for them, it's a very tall task. And I think that most people really only do what they want to do anyway, ideally. So you may think you have the power of influence, right? But ultimately, people do things for one reason only, is because they want to. Simply. So my thing is, even when we talking and we speaking, certain things aren't for everybody. This conversation that we having today isn't for everybody. It's for a very specific personnel. Very specific personnel. A person that's looking and seeking and wanting to be the best version of themselves. Some people aren't into becoming. Some people are complacent. Some people say, you know what, I choose to be here. This is where I'm going to stay at. I know people like us do things like this for progression, always developing, always looking and seeking and searching to be better people, better human beings, and doing more acts of servitude. So I know that this platform going to be for some individuals, is going to not be for some other individuals. That's okay. Everything is for who it's for. And we don't have to force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do, because they're only going to do what they want to do anyway. Just a footnote. Just want to drop that in. Feel me? Just wanted to drop that in. Since we here, many people try to control every outcome, every relationship, every opportunity, every child, every emotion. But growth requires space. Growth requires trust. Growth requires mistakes, because we also know that the mistakes are breeding grounds to realign to get perfection. Growth also requires freedom. Nelson Mandela said, the freedom of thought. Awareness should create wisdom, not imprisonment. Awareness should create wisdom, not imprisonment. So meaning, once we become aware, that shouldn't be our handicap. They used to say, ignorance is bliss. So when you don't know, people are super happy. And then once you become aware, it becomes a burden because now you have a level of responsibility, right? To uprise and uphold. There's two different forms of success. Some people don't want to take on the responsibility of being successful because it requires more. It requires more. Everybody say they want the limelight, they want this, they want that, and then when they get it, they say, "I don't want this. I didn't sign up for this." Or you did. You just didn't want to take on what it comes with. They say the grass is greener on the other side. So is the maintenance bill. Some people may say, "Well, I want the maintenance bill." Get the maintenance bill and say, "I want more." Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful things, beautiful ideology. Some other people say, "Man, I want more, I want more, I want more." And when they get more, they say, "I don't want more. Me no, no. Me no, no. I don't want this. I didn't sign up for this." So it's all about perspective, you know? But with that level of awareness, you say, "Okay, I got acquired wisdom. Am I going to utilize it for the betterment of my premise and purpose? Or am I going to allow that to handicap me? Because now that I'm in the know, I want to play the manipulation game. Since I'm in the know, let me just manipulate and stay here and confine because I'm the big fish in the pond. I'm unwilling to go out there in the ocean. So I'm going to stay right here in this little lagoon because I'm the big fish in this pond. So now that's our handicap. That's our imprisonment because our thoughts, our perspectives, and our ideas don't have more room for growth. We ain't creating that space in order to say, let me jump into this ocean and start to swim. And let me go out there and swim with the bigger sharks and the bigger predator and the bigger prey and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when you thrown in those waters, you're forced to adapt. You forced to swim. You forced to take on and wear different levels of hats because you start to become a different person. You start to stretch yourself. You start to do things that you normally wouldn't do when you didn't have those levels of responsibility. The drastic change is just apparent. A person that doesn't have children, then all of a sudden has a child, is no longer really about you. It's about the baby. So now the responsibility is how you think and how you react, how you spend your money, how you spend your time, the decisions that you make, where you live, how you live. All these things going to affect not only you but your child. So now you showing up as a qualified parent will show like, hey, I'm not neglecting my child. I'm doing things to make sure that they enhance in all areas, mentally, physically, spiritually. I'm pouring into them positive things. Because if I pour in the negative, then the outcome of that seed is going to be bad fruit. So we don't want to fertilize the soil with the pesticides. You don't want to fertilize the soil with pesticides, or rather pessimistic. Pessimistic mindsets. You don't want to come with that level of handicap, putting your child in a position to where they have an uphill battle because of the ideas you spread amongst them. So when we learn our levels of our own responsibilities, we say, you know what? My awareness is going to serve me because not only am I going to be better, I'm going to help and aid other people by my acts of servitude, by pouring more of the positive into other people. I'm going to continuously pour into me. I'm going to continuously learn, grow, get the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and then utilizing the application aspect, applying what I know. And then from there, through you're not going to hit everything on the head to be right at all times. But the premise is that along my mistakes, that's the breeding grounds to get truth and working our way towards perfection. So I want it all. I want the imperfections. I want the perfections. I want the learning curves. I want what to do, what not to do. I need to bump it on my head and I need the uprise. I need to feel responsible. I need to say, hey, you know what? No, you signed up for this. You got to seek it through. I signed up for the volleyball team and I got to play the whole season, whether I like it or not, because I put my name on that dotted line and I said, I'm going to show up. I did X, Y, and Z. I signed up for that school and I'm going to finish that school because that's what I signed up for. Hey, I put myself on restrictions when it comes to being able to scale back when it comes to finances. Hey, I got to be disciplined. I can't go get Ruth Chris tonight. I can't go to STK. I can't go such and such high-end restaurants because I know that financially I have a different type of goal. Hey, I say, you know what? I'm going to be responsible when it comes to my friendships and my relationships. So even the times where I may feel, I don't want to be responsible, I'm not going to neglect in those moments. I'm gonna say, you know what? I signed up for this. So even though I'm not in the best position, what is it like for me to be a personnel to say that, hey, I am a loyal, open, honest, transparent personnel that's going to add to this thing that we established on the oath. I pack our bond. I signed up for this. So I'm going to seek that out because this is what I signed up for. Good, bad, or indifferent. I watched, what's so powerful. I watched this older black couple on social media, and it was her and her husband. And the lady said something, I don't want to misquote it, but I'm gonna give you the premise of it. So she was saying about her husband, and she said that she didn't want the number, she didn't want the perfect 10 husband for 1 week. She said, I'd rather the level 4 or 5 husband for the 30, 40 years that we're going to establish. And they said, well, why you want that? And she said, because I understand that life has ebbs and flows. We have some moments we have highs and in moments where we have some lows. So 1 week you may be super on a high. You may get that 10 out of that person. But then when you get that 10, people start to expect 10 all the time. And then when you don't get 10, people thinking there's something wrong. And she said, what I want is that consistent 5 for the whole 30, 40 years. I want that consistency is what I'm looking for throughout her future endeavors with her husband. And she said, for the very reason is that when they come to that low and they drop to that 1, I understand that it's not the end all be all when rough times occur. And I know that when we join ourselves and doing our thing, I may not get the 10 24/7, 7 days a week, because the moment that it stops, then I start questioning my relationship. She said, but seeking out that 5 and being consistent of giving a little bit, take a little bit, give a little bit, take a little bit, and just have the ebbs and flows of being consistent in our relationship got us to 30 years in our relationship. And I thought that was something super, super profound. And I thought to myself, in the things that I want to bring into my life, not just through relationship, but purpose. Can I seek out what I'm going to seek out for 30, 40 years? Some days and some weeks I may be exceptional. And although I strive to be exceptional, sometimes the climate may not call for it. I may not be able to perform at the highest level 24/7, 7 days a week, even though my mind, mental, physical, I may push out that energy. But we all see David Goggins try to push out 110% every time. Sometimes the body just give up. Sometimes exhaustion kicks in. Sometimes burnout kicks in. It happens. If our lives were 24/7, 7 days a week, sunny, right? All the crops will burn. So we have no room, there's no room for more growth because all the crops will burn without water. So imagine having 24/7, 7 days a week, nothing but solid heat and consistent sun without the weather changing and us getting water. All the crops will deteriorate and they will burn. Nature shows us this. So sometimes we need the sunlight, sometimes we need the shade, sometimes we need the water. Sometimes we need a variation, a combination of things, constantly changing depending on the season. Because now we know how to treat in those seasons where it's strictly sunny. We know that we got to go outside and water. And we got to do the man-made things and the inhuman things and the actionary things by, not only planting the seeds, but watering the grass. So there's some seasons that we are in as human beings that we say, you know what? Hey, although I'm in a season of just straight sun, I know it's sunny outside, but I need to still go water my grass. I'm going to go educate. I'm going to put my head in some type of book and read, study, learn, do more, add more to my plate in order to get the wisdom, the quiet wisdom, so I don't stay in prison. and I don't be this big fish in a small pond in the lagoon. In the seasons where it's pour down rain, what I learned to do is I appreciate the sunlight. So right now, those hibernation, when the sun come out, I know I need to go out and get replenished and get that good vitamin D and let that sun hit me and let myself grow. And this is the season where I can go out there and start planting the crops now, because the soil isn't oversaturated with water. Sometimes we can put more on our shoulders than we can handle. That's when we're being drawn down. Too much is too much of anything can cause for disorder and chaos and destruction. We need is find balances when it comes to how we replenish and how we want to, add and do what we need to do in order to be purposeful in our purpose, to be purposeful within our purpose, to be purpose driven, to really manifest and bring these things and attract things towards us. They say that if we're not attracting things and we chasing things, anything that we chase is running away from us. Anything that we constantly on the chase is running away from us. I was watching this marathon runner. He ran over like 100 miles, right? I'm in the running. I'm really trying to get myself in a space to where I'll be able to compete in due time, starting off with the half marathon in due time, being able to run a full marathon. But here nor there, the gentleman was saying that he found something very, very unique about a lot of long distance runners, and they got something they call it, they they don't like you using terms on these medias like death and all that, but it's not pertaining to that death. They said there's a space where runners, you surpass runners high and all that stuff. You said they come to a point where runners run them long distances, them 50 miles, 100 miles, where they said that your body go through such a shock where you feel like you're going through death. And we were saying is that a lot of runners that do those long distance things, he found out that a lot of those runners have a lot of things that they were running away from. And a lot of it has to deal with some levels of trauma. So he said himself included with a bunch of other runners that run those dreadful long distances. He said that he found out that there's some traumatic things that they have experienced, and he said that they don't want to relive the trauma, but they said that in order to put them in that space where it's like life or death, they got to have these long drawn out runs to where their body physically go through something similar to what they felt like with the trauma at whatever time they experienced trauma. And I thought that was super profound. I found it obscure for a minute because I'm like, what? How you make the connection? Like, what correlates? What makes this a thing? But clearly, him being a runner, I haven't experienced. I haven't went in that territory, right? I haven't gone to the depths they have gone to when it comes to a marathon running. But when he said that, it made me look at my life and say, well, what rigorous, what things do I do to take myself to a place where I feel like, yo, I gave it not only my all, I gave not sacrifice. I've done something to the magnitude where I came on the brink of almost feeling like this is about to be an unaliving because of how far I went trying to accomplish a particular thing. And it just made me think about how other people think. Sometimes when I look at these situations, I'm like, man, I'm not going hard enough, or I'm not dreaming big enough, or I'm not being that disciplined, when I just see how extreme some of these personnels go when it comes to trying to accomplish a goal. And what I'm simply saying is that I utilize all of these stories and testimonies as tools that I can utilize to become a better person and really reach those goals that I have for oneself and make sure that I'm in purpose while doing it. And I want us as people to understand that there are different levels to everything that we do, and we don't have to be complacent in the spaces that we occupy to say that this is the end all be all. No, there's always room for up. There's always room for up. 24/7, 7 days a week. We are live streaming our lives. And every day we have an opportunity, every moment, every second, we can do a particular thing that add to our live stream to make sure that we more alive, more on purpose, and just being able to be more. And I don't want to take these moments for granted, because this very moment that you live in right now, you won't never have again. Every moment, every second, down to the seconds, you won't have that 1 second the same again. Once this is over in time, this is done. So think of that. Think of that. Like live, and give concerted effort. Try. Most people skip out on it. And I'm not speaking for other people, but I just hear how people talk. I listen. And there's certain things that don't feed my spirit. I hear more. I can't do this. I can't do that. I don't even want to be around. I can't. Everything in my book and the people, places, and things that I associate with is that they'll find a way to do the thing. They're not buying excuses. These people running 100 miles, 50-mile marathon runs. They're not saying, I can't run another step. They going to the knees buckle, legs wobbling, almost on the brink of being unalived, and their mind mentally, physically drawn down in order just to accomplish that huge goal. So what I'm simply saying is that you have nothing but room and opportunity to go up. So don't let your own thoughts and other people's thoughts and other places play on you to the point where you feel like you just can't be accomplished. No matter what the physical body is going through, no matter what the mental mind is going through, no matter how challenged you are spiritually. These other people, they want to continuously plant those you can't, I can't, don't want to, that they want to continuously plant those seeds, because that's the place where they are in prison. As much as they know, they choose to be in prison because they allow themselves to buy excuses for where they are in their lives. Good, bad, and different. Not just about wealth. How wealthy are you spiritually? You may have all the money financially, but are you wealthy in spirit? Are you wealthy in finances? Are you wealthy in relationships? Are you wealthy in friendships? Are you wealthy in career? Are you wealthy in business? Are you wealthy in perspective? Are you wealthy in creative ideas? Are you wealthy in discipline? Are you wealthy in acts of servitude? Are you wealthy in empathy? The list goes on. The list is infinite. So once I feel that, hey, I've done a particular thing, now there's another level to that. Okay, you did that one thing. Can you do 2? Now can you do 4? Now can you do 8? Can you do 100? Now it's infinite. So the more and more you just think of a level of infinity, you never get bored of your 24/7, 7 days a week live stream. Man, this has been a powerful, powerful build today. Man, there's so much more that we could have touched on, that this conversation will come up again, and we really will expound more, because I think there's so much into this. Try to jam pack it in such a small amount of time. We do the best that we can do, but remember, an hour and a half versus 24/7, 7 days a week, 365, 366 in the leap live stream. Think about the timing. Very, very minuscule. So what I'm simply saying is that once this goes off, we still on. Once this live stream is off, you are still on your live stream. Don't forget that. So every moment, every second, every opportunity, constantly create and constantly pour into oneself. So make sure that every moment that you live in is you just extracting the most that you can, good, bad, or indifferent. The learning curves, the fearful things, the things that challenge you, the things that bring you success, the things that make you cry, the things that make you smile. All of these things are part of your story that will allow you to recap this in due time and say, I remember that time there, and I turned that into fuel, and now I'm able to do wonderful, wonderful things, not only for me, but for other people around as well. So use this as fuel. As a disclaimer, anything that I said, understand that is with the intent to help, not hurt. first and foremost. Before we get out of here, I just want to say that I love you guys. More importantly, love yourself even more. Love yourself even more. Trust yourself even more. Give yourself permission to be better. And in due time, you'll see the changes. In due time, you'll see the changes. May not be immediate. You may get certain downloads at different points of times in your life and different levels of awareness. Be like, that's an aha moment. And they come. And then you trust me, they'll come. Because they'll come. They'll come. I started a whole nother conversation. But until due time, see us next Tuesday. New episode will be dropping. This one I purposely did live because how can I do a live about lives and not do it live, right? So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, thumb up the video. Send this to a person now that you think that can utilize this or need to hear it. Go sign up to our platform, respectfullygreat.com. Sign up to the email list. Get the latest and greatest in blogs. Get the latest and greatest in respectfully great fashion. As you can see, that good old pastel purple that we got on right now looking real good. Good Astro game on the top of good brand. It matches it, right? Matches the fly, good aesthetics. But ultimately check us out on Respectfully Great on all platforms. The Real Johnny Reed on Instagram, TikTok, Respectfully Great, at Respectfully Great, on YouTube. Yeah, all those other platforms. Facebook. Check us out on all the platforms, man. Shout out to all the platforms. And shout out for you just being diligent in your approach and constantly showing up for other people. And that shows the character of who you are, right? You're not only showing up for yourself, but you're showing up for other people. So, man, I commend you for that. And continuously being great. Continuously challenge yourself. And there's nothing off the table. Like B. Simone said, if you don't put it on the table, it's never an option. So put everything on your table so it becomes an option. Until then, till next time, till next Tuesday, I see you soon. Respectfully.